What's going on, people? Welcome to, let's call it the Thursday Night Flex. Yeah, let's call it that. Welcome to the United Stand. Good evening, wherever you're watching from, listening from around the world. 8 o'clock special. Loads to get through. Solskjaer's pre-season nightmare. Listen, you lot know me, right? And you know that I'm normally the guy who, I like to keep it real and honest and stuff. But I do like to have a laugh, and I don't like to dwell on things too much. But the way it's going right now at Manchester United, no signings, loads of drama off the field, Paul Pogba picking up the coronavirus, Wan-Bissaka having to quarantine. Like, it just feels down. So sorry if you've just joined, expecting to hear positive stuff being made to be, get up, let's go, we're ready to go. And I probably will find a little bit of that in me as the show goes on, but we have to deal with the facts. Do you know what I'm saying? So technically, this is a bit of a gloomy one. It's a little bit of a moan. However, there will always be light at the end of the tunnel, and we will discuss what the light at the end of the tunnel will be. But look, as you can see there to the right of me, Jadon Sancho transfer talks look to have stalled. We've got Harry Maguire's Greece incident. Paul Pogba was tested positive for coronavirus. And the latest one, this one here, Marcus Rashford suffers ankle injury, to pull out of the England squad. Look, it just feels like at the end of the season, right, we finished third with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's done brilliantly. Yeah, you can make up whatever you want to make up. You can have your agenda against Ole. You can look at the real reasons why we got fourth, other people not playing very well, etc., etc., etc. Right? That's fine. But you're finishing that season and you're thinking, okay, cool. This is going to be a positive window. Yes, we know the coronavirus has hit and money, etc. But the links with Sancho were there. Do you know what I'm saying? Straight away. We started, talk straight away. It felt like was all the reports where we had agreed personal terms. It was just the clubs trying to thrash out a deal. Then it just went slowly downhill. But you're thinking, do you know what? It's a hell of a long time to go in the transfer window. And it still kind of is. But this was before Chelsea went on a madness, before Arsenal went on a madness, before City signed a couple of players. You're thinking that actually we've started the transfer window pretty well. I remember sitting on the show with KG saying, do you know what? We're actually moving like a big club. Fabrizio's coming out and saying that, personal terms are kind of done with Jadon Sancho. Just the clubs need to agree a fee. You're thinking, you know what? Well done, Manchester United, because this transfer window is so important, and we've got to back Ole, and we've got to get him the players he wants. Ever since that day, since the Sancho deal started coming to a halt, it's just been a downhill spiral. Do you know what I'm saying? It really has. Then you've got the Glazers. Apparently, Joel Glazer coming out and saying he's the one who's biggest concerned, of course, because he doesn't want to spend any money about the Jadon Sancho situation. And it's just a mess. And we say it, Solskjaer's pre-season nightmare. Now, look, we might find ourselves without a couple of players at the beginning of the season. However, if they do make it, great. But what the point is it's pre-season nightmare. We've got to plan in pre-season. We've got about 2 to 3 weeks left before the 19th of September, when we start the league at home to Crystal Palace. And you might have a Paul Pogba who hasn't trained for a couple of weeks. We'll leave the Harry Maguire thing right where it is right now. We'll see where that goes to. You've got Brandon Williams on the treatment table alongside Luke Shaw, so they might miss a couple of weeks. You've got Wan-Bissaka might have them to do a 14-day quarantine now because he's gone to Dubai. It just doesn't. And then on top of that, we ain't signed anyone. We had the deal or a bid rejected for Bada That looks like it could have gone down the pan. So we tried to get Gabriel last minute, although how much of that is true, I don't know. But in terms of making contacts, that seemed pretty concrete. Just embarrassing stuff. And we're starting to think, are we going to get anything done? So we could find ourselves, and I hate to be doom and gloom, I'm just saying how it could be. We could find ourselves playing the first game against Crystal Palace at home on the 19th. Maybe without Paul Pogba, maybe without a recognised left-back, maybe without Wan-Bissaka. Who else? Maybe without Marcus Rashford. 4 key players. I think that was a 5th. Who was the 5th? And Harry Maguire. We don't know what's going on there. 5. And even if they are ready, take Harry Maguire out of it because it's a legal thing. Even if these players are there, they wouldn't have had the pre-season. They wouldn't have been able to get themselves into it. So, Pogba's not going to be able to return to training for at least 10 days minimum. Do you know what I'm saying? And hopefully he's asymptomatic and he's cleared up. So it's just not good. I'm going to interact with you guys in the comments, get your questions in. Get your comments in, and we'll get those guys get them read out for you. But for me, I just feel a little bit down. I'm not going to lie. I just feel like this is so important for Ole this window. It's so important to get the right players, and we're just not moving in the right direction. I just can't see it. The Brandon Williams thing. Actually, onto the Marcus Rashford thing. Actually, I'll get to Brandon Williams in a sec. I was reading that he's played through the pain barrier towards the end of the season and wanted to give himself a good chance to get into the England squad. So when we were playing Marcus Rashford minute after minute and he was looking dead on his feet and he wasn't playing well, and I'm not saying that that's the reason he wasn't playing so well. Maybe he just wasn't playing so well, but it's not really refreshing to hear that we're running him into the ground again. We saw what happened when we kind of ran him into the ground. There was reports that he wasn't feeling his back hurting before his back got hurt, but you know, it stunk a bit. It was a bit fishy to me, if I'm honest. And then he was out for a long time. So I think back in the last season, not last season, season before, I remember we hit a point where we just kept playing Rashford game in, game out, game in, game out, game in, game out. And I was just like, we're just running this kid into the ground. And to read that he was playing through the pain barrier and then he's gone and got injured and now he needs to take time out. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting. Like, he does probably need to take a rest, and you know, we do want commitment from players, and you know, the old school players will play through anything. I get that, you know, especially the new school players. They are maybe a bit quick to be taken out by the medical team or the scientific team. The science team of stats and stuff like that, who are looking at, you know, O2 outputs and being really scientific about things. Maybe they are too quick to take players out. But when you see that he needs to take, you know, a rest out of it, I'm hoping, and this is worst case scenario, is that he's been running to the ground and the injuries got worse. Best case scenario, it's more of a precaution. He gets called up, and it's also maybe Manchester United have gone, well, I'll tell you what, maybe, in fact, there's another side to it. Maybe we're just being a bit ruthless. Maybe we're saying, actually, Marcus, you've got the call up for England, which is great, but that ankle's not really where we need it to be. You play through the pain barrier. You're our player. England can get on fine without you in the Nations League qualifiers. I don't even know who it's against. I didn't even look. They should be fine. Come and rest. Do you know what I'm saying? So we can have you for the start. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Rudy says, will Rashford injury force us to buy Sancho? I don't think so. I don't think it'll force us to buy Sancho at all. For me, the Sancho thing's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. It's nothing to do with whether Rashford gets injured or not. For me personally, I think their mind's already made up of whether they are or they're not going to get Sancho. I don't think that it'll drag on with Manchester United saying no, and then they'll suddenly just say yes. I think if they've decided, they know they want to get the player, and they're going to work it out afterwards, and then you know, take him. You know what I mean? Get him. I don't think it's going to get to a situation where we need to wait for Marcus Rashford to get injured or another player to get injured to decide what we're going to do. So yeah, Dyson Gavander says it sounds like it's a publicity stunt, and you know what? We do get a little bit of that. Little things drip fed into the media. Another thing that's really annoyed me, I don't know about you guys, is just looking on our social media account on Twitter or on Instagram or whatever, whether it be Facebook. Not that I go on Facebook often, and just seeing like us just reposting what we was doing 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. The past is great and we're built upon those foundations, but constantly it just looks a bit desperate. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we've got no proper news to report. Great that Martial's back in the French squad. You know, great to hear from him after a good season. I'm not saying that's bad stuff, but going back to just looking at goals from Van Persie, or when Rooney did this, or when Berbatov done this, it just gets a little bit. Where's the real news? Do you know what I'm saying? Like what we got here over on the United Stand with the little PR spin, the little Wheel of Fortune wheel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like we're just a little bit desperate right now. This is from Vinit. We fans care too much about a club that doesn't care about us anymore. The board behaves like parasites. I mean, you just want to see us be ruthless, Vinit. You know, you see what Chelsea are doing, and it is a bit different because they've had the money sitting there. I get that. But we've had ages to know who we're going to need and what targets we're going to need. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to change the output on this. It's a little bit too high. Yeah, let's try that. There you go. Looks a bit better. Yeah, we know that they've had enough time to go and check on the targets, to go and find the targets that we need. I don't see COVID. It was almost like the COVID-19 situation. Yes, it's important, and yes, it's affected a lot of clubs. I get it. But it seems like just such a smokescreen. They're just standing behind it and almost using it as a way to just make us not get our targets. Do you know what I mean? A few more super chats coming in here. Max D, thanks for the contribution, bro. He says, I feel we're not going to sign anyone because of the last 2 games. Ollie was saying we need players. It's not like Ollie to say that. He knows he has no money. Well, I really hope you're wrong. I know that's your gut feeling, but we can't afford to not sign anyone. That's my biggest worry. People are saying like, yeah, but look at the team. You know, I was talking to a fan a couple of days ago when they were saying to me, Flex, like, if we can't get Jadon Sancho or we don't get signings, maybe it's not that bad, etc., etc. You know, Bruno Fernandes wasn't there all of last season. Pogba wasn't there for most of it. Rashford missed, you know, a couple of months. Martial missed a couple of months. It's a different Manchester United. I get that, but to be honest, you can see all the warning signs towards the back end of last season that were showing you about our first 11, that actually it's good. And when it bangs, but it isn't going to carry us through a whole 38 game season in the Premier League, not let alone the Champions League. You can't go to the Champions League without reinforcements. I'm sorry, you can't. Yeah, okay, against, you know, you might get to the round of 32 or round 16 before the quarters. And then you're kind of saying, all right, cool. Your first 11 is all right. You can go to, I don't know. I don't even want to get to like Bayern Munich away, Real Madrid. I'm talking like a Lyon away, or, you know, big game or something like that in the Champions League. You can, yeah, our first 11 is going to do all right. But again, when you start to get injuries, when you start to get fatigue, when you just start to get just plain old bad form, ain't going to cut it in the Champions League. Ain't going to cut it. So for me, I'm not having that at all. This is from Dion. Doherty says, Fergie and Gill to blame. Left because an entire squad rebuild was needed. Aged and lacking in depth. It took City just as long to build, even with money. It's interesting that you say that, you know, because look, listen, let me get this straight out there for the people that will chat crap and think, oh, look what he's saying about Fergie. Listen, Alex Ferguson is the best football manager ever. Yeah, in my opinion, and in almost fact, in my opinion. Almost fact, in my opinion. Fact. Best ever manager, yeah. Look what he's done for Manchester United. Superb. But he did leave at the right time. And he probably didn't leave us in great shape. And when I say that, I mean what Dion's just said there, in terms of aging players, lacking in depth. Do you know what I'm saying? And he did leave us. I think he knew what he did. He oozed every little bit of quality he could out of that last winning team. You know, Rooney and Chicharito and Van Persie and players like that. You know, you had Carrick still in there. Scholes obviously coming to the end. Rio coming to the end. Ever coming to the end. Vidic coming to the end. Players that were just coming to the end. And I wouldn't say it's all on Fergie why we're in this mess. Of course not. But I feel like he knew that it needed a full rebuild. And obviously Fergie coming to the end of an amazing career probably didn't want to have to go through that big rebuild. It would have been a lot of energy out of him. He felt like the time to step down was, and he absolutely deserved the right to choose when he done that. But really and truly, the biggest fault is not Fergie. The biggest fault is actually what happened after Fergie left. And yeah, you can say he had a hand in David Moyes coming because he picked him out and stuff like that. I get that. But I'm talking about that it started with David Moyes, but just the recruitment. Whoever was in charge of recruitment, which you got to look at Ed Woodward at the top of that pyramid, they're the people who've continuously got it wrong. I can name loads of buys that we made after that time that just didn't work. So really, it's the failed recruitment and lack of investment in the right type of players. Not in general, because investment in general, we've spent nearly £1 billion. I think we might have spent over that, you know, in transfers since Fergie left. So for me, you can't just look at Fergie, but I do get what you're saying there in terms of Fergie knew the right time to leave. You know, he wanted to leave at that time, and we wasn't in the best of shape. Officially, Natalie, for the contribution. I thought he was a member of the United Stand Members Club there, but it's just a contribution. Pick up yourself. 8,000 people watching live. Smash a like on the video description. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. You guys know what to do with that. There was one more super chat. Needed to make sure I got that up. Vinny again says, with Messi going to City, are we going to be the minnow club in Manchester soon? That brings me on to the next point. I was at TalkSport earlier, and they did have Wayne Rooney ringing into one of the shows. I think it was the breakfast show. And he basically it was put to him that, how good would it be? I think Alan Brazil said to him, how good would it be if Ronaldo come back to Manchester United and Messi went to Manchester City? And Rooney went, yeah, well, that'd be all right, but I'd have Messi at Man United. Basically saying he'd prefer to have Messi at Manchester United over Ronaldo, which, do you know what? I'll put that question to you guys. Very hypothetical, of course, because we're trying to, talk about something that isn't as doom and gloom. Very hypothetical. Let me know what you guys are saying. Would you rather have Messi come back, or would you rather have Ronaldo? But it was interesting to hear him talk about it. I mean, a lot of people have been saying they just want to see Messi come to the Premier League, just to say, we can see him. Do you know what I'm saying? Just to enjoy his presence. Give players a chance in this league to play with him. I mean, how good would that be? That'll be sick. Carson has a super chat here. Let me just get to that now. There's a video about the Glazers called "What is the Cost of Lies?" Recommend watching it, Flex. I will check that out. Big up yourself, Carson. I will check that out. Mate, a lot of people say Messi, Ronaldo, Messi all day, Ronaldo. Obviously, CR7, Ronaldo over Messi, Ronaldo. Bit of a mixed bunch. Bit of a mixed bunch. I mean, look, CR7 is our GOAT. Do you know what I'm saying? One of the best players to ever play for Manchester United. But it would be intriguing to see what it'd be like if Messi did come to Manchester United. I mean, but more importantly, if he goes to City and then we don't even sign Jadon Sancho, we're just going to get left out. And this is taking it back to the beginning of the show. Apologies, but come on, man. Imagine if City get Lionel Messi, yeah, it could be over. It could be over. Yes, they need to improve at the back and that, but he's going to score 50 goals. Messi's going to score 50 goals in the Premier League. 40 minimum. Do you know what I mean? And then it just leaves us just sitting in the wings. Chelsea probably going to get Kai Havertz. They announced the other defender today on a free, sent him back out on loan. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Someone says you can get Josh King. No disrespect to Josh King. We probably will go back in for him. You know what I mean? We probably will go back in for him because for me, he's going to be a cheap option. I'm even on the Sancho thing. Yeah, I'm worried. I'll tell you why I'm worried, because I don't know. I'm almost in the camp now of get the squad depth sorted. Get the squad depth sorted, because if we have to spend 110 million pounds on Jadon Sancho, 109 million pounds, whatever it is, on Jadon Sancho now, do you really think the Glazers are going to shell out 30 million on this squad player, 40 million on that squad player, 25 million on that squad player? Because we need about another 3 to 4 players after Jadon Sancho. Do you know what I mean? Let's get real here, guys. That's the truth here. So really what the Sancho thing is actually about saying, do you prefer to put all your eggs in one basket and spend your whole transfer budget and have a more potent attack and score more goals, create more chances? All right, cool. And have to rely on everybody staying fit, number one, and everybody being in form? Or do you say, do you know what? We're being held to ransom with Jadon Sancho, even though that these prices probably... Actually, no, we're not being held to ransom, to be fair. 100 million for Jadon Sancho is probably about right. Fred's 50 million. You got to look at what we paid for players. If Fred's 50 million, Wan-Bissaka's 50 million. Harry Maguire was 80 million. For a player of Sancho's ilk, it's probably right. It's only the coronavirus that would probably bring it down. So we're not being held to ransom. I'll take that back. But in terms of the coronavirus, we're trying to say we've been held to ransom. But my thing is that, yeah, as I was saying, would you rather put everything into that, or would you rather say, do you know what? Keep that 109 million, spend 40 million on Donny van der Beek, spend 50 million on a decent centre-half, spend 30 to 40 million on a defensive midfielder, maybe even 50 million. Would you be prepared to share that out? Michael Jones says squad depth more important. And you know, I'm with you. I mean, type in the comments, put squad depth or Sancho. Let me know what you think. I know Adam was basically saying that Sancho, we have to go and get him now. There's no other option, because I do agree with that side of it, where if you don't get Sancho now, if you don't get him now, then you're never going to get him. Do you know what I mean? You're never going to get him. So I do understand that. I do understand that. We need to buy CR7, not Sancho, says Adil Masood. I don't know about that. I mean, CR7, there's not much longevity left in him. He's an amazing athlete, but Sancho is going to be a player you could probably invest into for the next 10 years. What are people saying in the comments? To be honest, I'd rather get no signings than to pick, says Sean. Kimani says both. All right, cool. He says both. A lot of people saying Sancho. Patricia says depth. I think flex. So going for the depth there, and another Sancho one there as well. So for me, look. If Sancho ends up at Manchester United, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that he's not good. I'm not saying that we don't even need him. What I'm saying is that, and I'll be happy if he does come. But if he does come for £109 million and we do have to give that money up front, I'm telling you now, I'll be coming on here, I'll be tweeting, I'll be saying, great that we got Sancho, but I'm very, very worried at the lack of squad depth, And, that leads me on to another thing, really, which is a report that I read today that apparently Galatasaray are in for Fred. Apparently they've been looking at him, and apparently the manager's been quoted of saying that that he's looking forward to maybe having potentially Fred in his squad. I mean, would you guys entertain Fred leaving? For me, look, KG always says that he thinks that he should move because where does he start? Where does he fit into that midfield? Can he do what Pogba does? No. Can he do what Bruno does? No. Can he really do what Matic does? Not how Matic does it, no, but he gives a different element. I wouldn't sell Fred, me personally. I wouldn't sell Fred. Robert Anderson says, yes, see how much they offer. So you're basically saying for the right price, But for me, I wouldn't sell Fred yet. I think if Matic is knackered, or you need to get somebody else in for a different type of game, you need legs. You're looking at playing against the quicker teams or the teams that are better. I think Fred can do a job. I really do think Fred can do a job. Don Snap says Fred is average. Fair enough. Subra, gosh, has come to my funeral when the transfer window closes. Really feeling down in the dumps there. But I wouldn't sell Fred. Someone just said Fred was player of the year. And look, Fred was a bit unlucky because when we came back after, I was going to say international break there, it wasn't an international break, anything. But when we come back after Project Restart, Fred just was kind of out the team because of the likes of Pogba coming back in. Matic was fit again and playing well, even though he didn't start and he went with McTominay. But Fred kind of lost his place, and I did feel for him. But what we know with Fred is that he is a confidence player. He's a player who needs to run the games. He's a player who needs to be playing consistently. And if he's not going to be able to perform to that level coming off the bench, then I can see people's grievances. But I just feel we've got so much more other things to solve than selling Fred. I agree here. With Azaria says buy first before selling Fred. This comment here from Walter says Fred needs to prove us. I believe he will, or basically prove to us. And he needs to prove that to us. So look, can we get a better player in than Fred? Yeah, probably. You look at Thomas Partey and Didi, these types of players, they are levels. They're better than Matic in my opinion. But I just don't, because of the lack of investment in this window, we go selling players like Fred, who actually are half decent coming off the bench or half decent having to start games. I think we're asking for more trouble. And that leads me on to outgoings, to be honest. Outgoings, we're not seeing much of outgoings. Lingard situation has been quite quiet. I mean, maybe he's going to stay. Who knows? Dalot's situation has been quite quiet. You saw some movement today with Wolves. They got rid of Doherty and he went to Spurs, pretty much the done deal. And they're looking at Maitland-Niles. So, there was talks of maybe Dalot being linked with Wolves. Maybe back to Portugal for Dalot. I don't know. Can he get in this side? I don't know. Brandon Williams, I did find it odd. As soon as he wasn't being picked, when Brandon Williams was playing every single game and Dalot couldn't even get on the bench sometimes, I was like, I don't know. Like the writing's on the wall. I mean, if you've got 9 subs and you're not making bench, it's not good. Zayn Miasi's in the cut, as per usual. It's a nightmare on Elm Street at Old Trafford at the Emirates. Never mind Fred. Get Freddy Krueger to go after the Glazers and the Cronkies. Yeah, listen, he's not doing well. The Glazers in general aren't. Fergie's last speech. You all fans need to back the next manager. Never did he mention the board and club ownership. He was smart. Do you know what? So you got a point there. I remember that speech 2013 on the pitch after that last game when Rio scored the winner. And he did say that. He goes, we need to get behind our manager. We tried to get behind David Moyes. Obviously, that didn't work. We've been behind every manager as they started out. No Man United fan wants these managers to do badly. And we're all behind Ole. Most of us are behind Ole and wanting him to do well. But exactly, he didn't mention about the board and the ownership at all. So he probably was very smart in doing that. Another super chat here. From Emperor says, sell Fred, buy Salniguez, get Sancho, Donny van de Beek, left back and a centre, a central defender. Is that enough? Because Sancho is going to cost 109 million. It's how you're going to afford Donny van de Beek for 40 million. Selling Fred's probably going to get you about what we bought him for 50. Could we even recoup that? All right, let's, for argument's sake, you did get your 50, but Salniguez is probably going to cost between 30 and 50. Then a centre back. I don't see where the money's going to come from, Emperor. I really don't. I really don't see where that money's going to come from, in my opinion. There was another one here. Let me go through that. Where is it? So Fred. Here it is here. I want to make sure I get you guys super chats up. Alishan Moodley says, would Jamal Lewis consider United? A lot of people have asked me this. A lot of people have asked me this because they know, obviously, I speak to Jamal. And I'll be honest with you, I've not actually asked him that. I know you're not going to say, what are you playing at? You should. But I don't know if any of you guys are friends with any footballers or anything like that. But you kind of want to respect their space, innit? Like, I don't want to be ringing Jamal every second and saying, yo, bro, what are you doing? You coming United, you're doing this, you're doing that. I want to kind of respect his space. And if it gathers tempo and there were some rumours that we might sign him, don't get me wrong, of course, then I'd make a call to him and see what he's saying. But to answer your question, I'm not answering on behalf of Jamal. This is just me saying it. I think Jamal would seriously consider that. The only problem he would have is that, look, Brandon Williams has been given a new deal. You got Wan-Bissaka at right back, solid. Dalot is still there. Luke Shaw obviously is there and is the number one left back. Jamal would probably look at it, as much as it would be amazing to play for Man United. He'd probably have to look at it and think, for his career, would it be great? Would it be great for him? Is he going to play? I mean, one thing I do know about Jay is that he wants to play football and he deserves to play football. He's a Northern Ireland international, played a lot of games for Norwich last year, proved that he can play at that level in a difficult Norwich team that was under a lot of pressure defensively. But he proved he can probably play at this level. So for me, I think he would consider it, but I think he'd also have a strong balancing act there in terms of whether or not to go to Manchester United, because I just don't think he would think. I don't think he would get guaranteed enough game time. You know what I'm saying? And that's obviously detrimental to him right now because he's playing so well. Chloe Jenkins says, with the injuries and quarantines, I think we'll keep fringe players like Jessie. Interesting, Chloe, that you say that. Yeah, because exactly, if we get rid of too many, that's what I'm saying, people saying sell Fred and do this. If we do get rid of too many, then are we going to have the money to get back in? I do think, look, if you get good money for Jessie Lingard, then that's a different story. Because if you get let's say, that's a good question. What's Jessie Lingard worth to you guys? What are you guys saying Jessie Lingard's worth? How much millions? Don't say thousands of pounds. Be respectful. It's millions. What's Jessie worth on this current market? I'm saying like between 30 to 40 million pounds. That's what I'm saying. English, people saying 20 million, man. Nah, I don't think 20 million. Someone saying 50 mil, 40 to 45 million, 30 mil, 30 mil, 30 easy, bro. Yeah, I think 30 is about the average. Someone said packet of crisps, straight disrespect. Zach Smith, 8 mil, get out of here. Listen, as bad as Jessie's been with his form, he's still a decent player, man. I'm not one of these Man United fans who go, Jessie's awful, he's crap, he's never going to be good. I just think he's lost his way and the squad has moved on and he's going to find it hard to get the game time that he's going to want to kickstart his career after going through a lot off the field. So I want to see the best for Jesse Lingard. But also you got to remember, you buy him more. Obviously, look, he hasn't got much in stats in terms of goals and assists in the last 18 months. I understand that, but you can't get it twisted. When you sign Jesse Lingard, whoever signs him is going to be able to sell shirts. He's a commodity. He's a bit of a star. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think anywhere between 30 and 40 million, whether it's 35, 30 million, 32, whatever, or someone said 25 plus. Yeah, Samson said 25 million plus 5 million add-on, something like that. So back to what Chloe was saying, if you're going to get decent money for someone like Jesse Lingard, and then you spend that money on a Van der Beek, then yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Then yeah, but I do agree. If we can't shift these players, then we are going to struggle. We are going to struggle with that. Zamiasi says, Flex, it would be cool if Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, and Messi came to the league for next season. Or Ronaldinho just got out of jail, mate. So I don't know what shape he's going to be in at all. Jitkar says, if Aki gets 41 million, Jesse Lingard certainly deserves 45 minimum. It's hard to compare that because Aki's been playing consistently, for Bournemouth, and at the wrong end of the table. But I don't know, it's just a bit different. And I think he's going to go into a City side. He's younger than Jesse. He's going to go into a City side and probably start unless they really invest in another centre-half. So, yeah, be interesting. Jermaine McLean says, sell Fred and find someone a bit better on the ball. Again, do you know what it is with this? Do you trust this board to do things like that? Like, sell a player and then have a ready-made replacement? Because I don't right now. I don't. Do you know what I'm saying? That is the type of business that we should be doing, Jermaine. Do you know what I'm saying? What we should be doing, right, is saying, all right, cool. If we are going to move Jesse Lingard on for X amount, let's already have our target, or let's go and get the target first, knowing that, you know, we've sorted out a move for Jesse. If you are going to move Andreas Pereira on, there should be a clear plan. And this is where the director of football situation comes into it. Suarez is leaving Barca. Yeah, that's great for him, but I don't want him anywhere near United. That's the sort of thing I want to talk about in terms of the director of football, because I think if you've got a clear plan and you've got proper football people making football decisions, I think they sit down and the journey's kind of mapped out. I know it isn't as easy as this all the time because you're dealing with football, you're dealing with humans, contracts, etc., transfer fees, but it's not that hard to map out. Okay, let's sell Jessie for 30, 35 million already. Okay, so we know that. Let's get on the phone to Leicester. Let's get on the phone to, I don't know, to Everton or Aston Villa or Wolves or whoever might want to buy Jessie, whoever it is, whether it's abroad. And let's say, okay, cool, you got that deal. That deal's going to come in. Right, cool. Let's go make a move for Donny van der Beek. We use 35 million of Jessie's, add the extra 5, and then we've done it. Then you say, right, okay, Pereira. In the comments, guys, let me know, what would Pereira be worth? Interesting question, that, because he's a player who got a big contract, so he's got a lot left on his contract, but our team's going to be like, well, he hasn't really done anything for you for a while, which they could really say with Jessie, I suppose. But how much do you think Herrera's worth? Let me see what numbers kind of come up. I'm saying Herrera, Premier League player, he's still played quite a bit, between 15 and 20 million, 25 tops, I would say. 20 to 25 mil, says Mohammed. Dab on it says 20 mil. Got 15 mil. Jessie is not worth anywhere near Van der Beek. No chance. Delusion Flex. You say that, Yanni, right? But Van der Beek shouldn't really be 30 to 40 million. It's a snip. Do you know what I'm saying? Van der Beek is level. So it's not me saying that Van der Beek is as good. Jesse Lingard is better than Van der Beek. That's why Jesse Lingard's price should be that. What I'm saying is it's not delusion. What I'm saying is that Jesse Lingard in this country, if he moved to another Premier League team, he's got Europe, England caps. I mean, played in big games for Man United, scored in big finals, and is a bit of a star. He's going to sell you shirts. It's not just about, you can't just look at it and say that Jessie hasn't been playing well for a long time, so he's going to go for 5 million. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't really agree with you there about saying it's delusion. Andreas is worth 12 million. Mr. Fister says, awful name. Don't know if you're trying to do me there, but yeah, I might have gone for that. 17.5 mil, 5 million. Nah, no chance. You know what I mean? So yeah, back to what I was saying. It's whether you look at that and go, I'll tell you what, you move Pereira on, you go and look at a player who can fill that gap. Just looking at a seamless transition from one player to the other. We still got Smalling on our books. Noah, Lyle Bertie says, Smalling is 20 to 30 million. Interesting, because we couldn't agree with Roma because they wouldn't pay what we were asking for. And I think Chris Smalling's probably worth about, what? I'd say 15 million, I'd say. At his age, 10 to 15 million. I don't think you're going to get upwards. I don't think you're going to get 20 to 30 for him. But again, that's another player that can give us some money. And another thing, Rojo. Who buys Rojo? Who buys Rojo for a considerable amount? Rojo is probably likely to go for about 10 million or less, I would say. I can't see him going and going for big money. I don't know what you guys think. Contribution, thanks from 6782 Anthony. Big ups, Flex. Andreas, 20 million replacing players would require our crap board to make football decisions instead of ensuring our club is an ATM for the Glazers. It all falls back to it, innit? It all falls back to the structure of the club. Do you know what I mean? It really does. Romero's another one. Do you know, I want to finish off talking about the keepers. I know Mark spoke about the keepers when Dean Henderson signed his deal, was it yesterday? But do you know what? It's a really, really not strange one, because we all wanted Dean Henderson to do well. We know he's our player, and we all wanted to see what was happening. There's been a whole bunch of opinions. A lot of people been saying De Gea shouldn't play, bring Dean Henderson back straight away and make him number one. I wasn't in that camp. I was more in the camp of bring Dean Henderson back and let De Gea know that he's in for a fight. And, you know, on the show I done earlier on TalkSport, it was one of the topics that I covered. And I did say it's a big call from Ole. It's a big call. I'm not surprised he got a 6-year deal. I'm surprised he got 120 grand a week or 100 grand a week, whatever it is. That is absolutely madness. Do you know what I'm saying? He hasn't even played a first team game for Manchester United in the league or in general. And you're getting 120k a week. That's just madness. But we pay players stupid money. And then back to that, we're saying that we don't want Sancho to come and break the wage bill. And then you're making Dean Henderson come and get 120 M's a week. And he ain't even kicked the ball for us. Don't get me started. I feel like I'm going to go and get another rant there. But it don't make sense. Anyway, back to what I was saying, yeah? I'm saying that as soon as Solskjaer makes a change in goal, I think there's no turning back from De Gea. Because you got to remember, the goalkeeping position is like no other position on the pitch. It's not like up front, or it's not like any of the outfield positions where you can go, do you know what, mate, I like the way you've been training. I'm going to give you a game. I'm going to give you a couple of games. Do you know what I'm saying? Keepers like to know that they've got the backing. Do you know what I'm saying? They like to know that they've got the backing. And they like to be in a bit of a comfort zone. And probably being in a comfort zone is what's actually got David De Gea into this situation in the first place. But as soon as Ole goes, do you know what, Dean, you're in, you got a problem, because you can't, and one thing you can't do with keepers is chop and change. You do need consistency. You need to have a number one. You need to have a steady number one. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially for the back four as well. You're looking at Harry Maguire, whoever he's going to be partnering next year, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw or Brandon Williams, whoever it is. The back four want to look behind and know they got consistency. You can't play with your keeper changing every single game, not at this level. Just like your centre-back partnership, you don't want that changing. Your spine of the team, your midfield pairing or your midfield trio, you want that to kind of stay the same and make a few changes here and there. But in the back four, because we play a back four, so I'd say a back five, including David De Gea, it needs to be consistent. So I do think David De Gea will still be number one. And I do think that he still should be. I'm not in the camp of, like, get rid of him, he's not good enough. He's still a good keeper. And you got to remember, going from Sheffield United to Manchester United is different. I don't care what anyone says. People say he's done amazing at Sheffield United, and he has. He's done brilliantly. But it's still a step up. He's still got to be on his toes and then obviously get a chance and prove to us why he should be in the sticks. But the biggest thing for me is the challenge for David De Gea. Because you don't know. How do you not know, right? And this is hypothetical. How do we not know that David De Gea reacts to this? This is what you want. You talk about competition for places all over the pitch. And if you want to be a great team, you know, we've had Sergio Romero, who's a great second string keeper. So we're blessed in the keeper department. But what I'm saying is, is that there's never been a real chance that De Gea is going to be displaced by Romero. De Gea's never gone into training or had one of these bad games like at Watford where he flipping threw the ball into the net after bouncing off the flipping, when he dropped the ball, after bouncing into the post. At Everton, when he flipping hit the ball off, what's his name, Calvert-Lewin. What other mistakes? There was a near post one against Crystal Palace. Was it Van Aanholt? Should have saved that. There was, there's been loads. After these games, do you think that David De Gea drove home that night thinking, flipping neck is tight, Romero might come for me here. Romero's going to come for me, man. I might get dropped. No, I don't think so. Even towards the back end of the Europa League, they brought Romero in for the quarterfinals. He did okay. Obviously kept a clean sheet, and then took him out for the semis. And I dare say, if we would have got to the final, De Gea would have been there as well. So De Gea has not had any form of real competition. Yes, he's got a good keeper behind him in Romero, but there was no real threat to him. Now there's a threat to him. Now, can De Gea go, right, boom, you know what, I'm going to train harder. I'm going to be first in, last out. I'm going to raise my performance level. Because if we start, all we want is what's best for Manchester United. Dean Henderson's got a whole long career ahead of him. We've just give De Gea a big 3-year deal, is it? At 350 grand a week? Do you know what I'm saying? I can't remember how long the extension was, but I think it was something like that. 350 grand a week. He's not going anywhere soon. Even if we wanted to sell De Gea, who's gonna pay those wages? Nobody can afford that. So, Rebuild FC saying De Gea is a liability now. But if he can respond to it, people always talk about backing your players and stuff like that. And this isn't knee jerk because De Gea has not been great for a while. But is De Gea is he gonna react? If De Gea comes back next season and it's like, wow, this is like the old De Gea, like he hasn't made a mistake since. We're winning games. We're not conceding any goals. If not, it's only a couple of goals that, here and there. You are going to concede the odd goal here, but if you're winning games 3-1, 4-1, 2-0, 3-0, great. But if he responds, then all you can say, you can't say fairer than that. But what I do like about Dean Henderson coming back is it shows that actually they are trying to plan for after De Gea. It's like one of the only things we've managed to do where you can kind of see actually from the club, good planning, well done. Do you know what I'm saying? A good move. Blake the third says, who was challenging Van der Sar and Schmeichel though? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, we had keepers like Ben Foster about. I remember Thomas Kuszczak, obviously Tim Howard, but he was number one for a little bit. I get it. But because you're basically siding with Mark, because Mark's comment was that he's not so sure about it because there can't be two great keepers there. There needs to be one and then quite an understudy. But I just think with De Gea, I hear your point. They didn't have people. Schmeichel and Van der Sar were out and out number ones and didn't have someone who's going to displace them. But the difference with them is that their performance did not slip, Blake. Do you see what I'm saying? They never got complacent. Their performances never dipped to a position where Manchester United fans considered getting rid of them. Van der Sar was just, what was he? Late 30s, early 40s. Same thing with Schmeichel. Been there a hell of a long time, won a hell of a lot of stuff, and then wanted to move on. The De Gea thing is a bit like, well, no one's pushing him. He used to be fantastic, and now he's making all these mistakes. I think it's just a little bit different to compare him to those guys. So yeah, it's harsh. It's harsh, guys. We come to the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in on the 8 o'clock show. Solid over 8,000 people watching, nearly 9,000 people watching actually, which was sick. Smash a like on the video if you're new. Hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner as per usual. Lots to get through. Hopefully we're getting to the end of the week. Hopefully there's some more news in the developing days, guys, because I didn't want to come in and bore you guys or give you a bit of a moan. But as you can see here, I got it right first time. I was going to do that. As you can see here, there's a lot wrong at the moment, and we just need some good news. We just need some good news. Can we get some good news? Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, hoping Pogba gets a speedy recovery. You can make jokes about Corona. I saw people saying like, "Oh, it's the only positive thing Man United have had in ages." Yeah, it's all right to have a little bit of a laugh, but one of our players got Corona, and it just shows you it's still out there. And hopefully, Paul Pogba's a young, fit guy, but hopefully his family don't catch it or anyone around him, and we hope that he does okay. I am out of here. Check me out on my YouTube channel, The Flex, as well. And more importantly, make sure you subscribe to the United Stand. Mark will be with you guys at 10 a.m. tomorrow with another video. I am out of here, guys.